We shall never forget them.
Tonight on DC News Now, we pause to remember those who died in the 9/11 terror attacks, how the DMV is honoring those lost 23 years ago.
A 15-year-old boy in Virginia accused of stealing a Stafford County sheriff's gun.
I was scared and nervous and anxious. What happened last week in Texas, this is right in my lane with my family being there.
The community raising concerns about how this could happen.
Hi, everyone. The short sheet continues with sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s. Forecast, it's coming up.
We're always going to state the truth and facts about what happened on January 6th. The United States Capitol Police beat back a violent mob that was summoned by Donald Trump.
DC Mayor Muriel Bowser fighting back after former President Trump claims she rejected help during the January 6th riots.
It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs.
How his actions could impact voters in November.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for DC News Now at 9 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Susan Tran. All across the DMV, we are honoring the thousands killed during the September 11th terrorist attacks. Now, the national nightmare happened 23 years ago. Let's take a live look right now at the Pentagon, where a flag hangs from the site where terrorists crashed a plane, killing all 64 people on board and the 125 in the building. Their names were read at a ceremony this morning as family members came to visit the memorial.
And in Pentagon City, a photo here, an exhibit of the terrorist attack returned to the Fashion Center at Pentagon City. The exhibit includes several never-before-seen images and videos from the attack on the Pentagon. It is the only photo exhibit that is dedicated to the first responders and victims in the Pentagon.
New tonight, the Secret Service is planning for extra security for the counting and certification of electoral votes. The agency says it is now designating the 2025 process at the Capitol to be a national special security event, which gives law enforcement more leeway to take action and prevent protest. The Secret Service learning from the 2020 attacks on the Capitol when former President Trump called on his thousands of supporters to rally there at the Capitol while Congress was certifying the election results. Now, the agency says that D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser made the request for the designation. In a statement, the Secret Service says that it is committed to developing and implementing a comprehensive and integrated security plan to ensure the safety and security of this event and its participants. DC News Now's your local election headquarters, and we're turning our attention now to last night's high-stakes presidential debate with the focus on a local moment when the moderator asked former President Trump if he'd change anything he did during the January 6th attacks. He denied any responsibility.
Yeah, the former president, though, blaming in part D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser for not accepting help from the National Guard. Our reporter Mario Carbone live for us tonight on Capitol Hill.
And Mario, what is the mayor saying? How is she responding?
Well, Susan, quite simply put, the mayor is saying that that statement is just a lie. She's applauding D.C. and the Capitol Police for their efforts that day. And this issue, it's really a sensitive one for voters, not just here in the district, but across the country. Nearly 4 years after rioters stormed the Capitol, former President Donald Trump maintains he never incited any violence on January 6th.
Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on.
It's a statement some voters who tuned into Tuesday's presidential debate reject.
That he incited the attack on the Capitol. Then he starts saying those people are patriots, and I just can't buy it.
In an exchange on stage, moderators asked Trump if he regretted any of his actions that day.
It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security.
That
Nancy
comment
Pelosi
sparking a response by Mayor Muriel Bowser on social media, writing Trump never offered D.C. 10,000 troops, and the president, not the D.C. mayor, controls the D.C. National Guard.
And the fact is the D.C. Police Department, the United States Capitol Police beat back a violent mob that was summoned by Donald Trump.
He never answered the question.
Voters like Tracy and Michael D'Annunzio say they're disappointed by the former president's take.
He never took ownership of the gravity of the denigration of democracy that he has created.
Vice President Kamala Harris rebutting Trump's comments.
It's time to turn the page and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome.
And the former president is facing 4 federal charges here in the district for attempts to overturn that 2020 election. Chris and Susan, that case is still ongoing. Reporting live from Capitol Hill tonight, I'm Ariel Carbone, DC News Now.
Ariel, thank you. And now we're learning there could be a new concern for November's election, as a new Associated Press poll finds that Republicans are more likely to trust former President Trump than the official election results. 67% in fact say that they believe Trump and his campaign, while 51% trust government certifications. As for Democrats, 87% believe in official government results. And while the majority of Americans trust that national, local TV news and newspapers for the election outcomes, Republicans have less confidence in those traditional formats.
Happening tomorrow, the funeral for a D.C. police officer who died in the line of duty. Officer Wayne David will be laid to rest at the Ebenezer AME Church in Fort Washington, Maryland. The service begins at 11 a.m. and is open to the public. A procession will then travel through a portion of Northeast D.C. Drivers can expect rolling road closures between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. Those roads are listed on our website. Officer David died after he accidentally shot himself while trying to retrieve a gun from a storm drain last month.
We are tracking Hurricane Francine. This is a Category 2 storm that made landfall in Louisiana around 6 tonight. And we're taking a live look now at New Orleans, and you can see all of those raindrops on the camera here. The bright lights of the city, a little gauzy as we're seeing the raindrops and the camera moving with the wind. The storm has knocked out power for thousands of people, and it's threatening widespread flooding with a potential deadly storm surge. So we're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb on this.
Yeah, Janessa, that area really, I'm prone to getting hit by hurricanes. They always get hit.
Yeah, when I saw Francine, I thought of Laura in 2020. It hit Cameron Parish as a hurricane, and so Cameron Parish kind of lucky on this storm system. This is about 30 miles outside of Morgan City, where they had that official landfall as a Cat 2 storm. What's happening right now is you have a severe weather threat where tornadoes are on the table. All these colors that you see currently flashing, those are tornado warnings impacting New Orleans, and then flash flood warnings. If you have family and friends from Baton Rouge, the NOLA area, and between those two is the Gonzales area, they're dealing with flash flood warnings, and that storm system has a long ways to go. I'm going to show you more of that in the extended forecast. What's happening here now? Partly cloudy skies, 75 degrees. We are dealing with a southeast breeze, 5 to 10 miles per hour, and so it's very quiet compared to our friends in the deep south right now. Out towards Annapolis into Baltimore County, they're in the lower 70s, and the farther you go west, 60s. You have this dome of high pressure that continues to meander across the East Coast, and that's what's allowing us to see a good amount of sunshine. That will continue into your Thursday and Friday. Waking up tomorrow morning, have the light coat handy, and then throughout the day, it does get a little bit warmer. Folks, we have a long stretch of more dry air that will settle across the DMV, and more on this forecast that's coming up.
All right, Janessa, we'll see you then. Well, take a look at this here. A car crashing into a building happened in Northwest D.C. today at 18th and M Streets. Firefighters say no one was seriously hurt, and the crash only caused slight damage to the outside of that building.
2 men pleading guilty to stealing 50 guns from a Northern Virginia store, and police say it happened in April of last year. This was a licensed gun dealer in Springfield, and investigators say the men first tried to shoot through the door to break in. When they finally got into the shop, they grabbed the guns and later sold them in D.C. Officials say they recovered one at a district elementary school. Both men were sentenced to 9 years in prison.
All new tonight, Stafford County deputies say a 15-year-old high school student was detained after making a threat on social media with a gun.
So they say that the gun had been stolen out of a deputy's cruiser, but this was a week earlier. Our Max Marcella joining us live now in the studio with details on how this all happened.
Yeah, Max, a lot of people there really troubled by this.
They really are, Chris. Now, I will say, the person we spoke with for this story said it's relieving that we are telling this story where nobody got hurt or potentially worse. But he also said, understandably, he's worried about how this all happened. Stafford County sheriffs are tight-lipped tonight, not answering questions, but sharing some details through a Facebook post. They say on Tuesday night, a 15-year-old made a violent threat on social media against a student at Brook Point High School. So Wednesday morning, there was an increased police presence at the school. But before the school day started, they ended up finding and detaining the student who made the threat. Sheriffs say the gun the student posted online was the same one stolen out of a sheriff's office car last week. They say the car was locked and the gun was in a secure gun rack, but they allege the teenager broke a window and, quote, defeated the gun rack.
That brings concerns to everyone, like, how did that happen?
That question is on Jose Espinosa's mind. He's surely not alone. Espinosa has 2 kids at Brook Point High School and his wife teaches there. And while he wants more training for teachers when threats arise and improved communication, tonight he's thankful, though that was not the case this morning.
Very grateful for Sheriff Department to have everything under control, but my reaction was I was scared and nervous and anxious.
The school sent DC News Now a copy of a letter the principal sent to families this morning, saying in part, "There is not a general threat to the school. We simply want to be sure we're taking all precautions necessary to ensure the safety and well-being of our community." And now look, there is still so much we don't know, including any potential charges against the 15-year-old. Chris and Susan, we tried to ask Stafford sheriffs how someone could defeat a secure gun rack and if firearm storage policies in place now are adequate to prevent thefts like the one they say happened, but they told me they did not have anyone available for an interview today. Live in the studio, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.